Good day, everyone. This video, the inspiration came loosely from good old God Howard and Starfield. It's lackluster fan and critic response, at least, lackluster with this being Bethesda's latest IP in over, 2 decades, and with the product the teams at Bethesda have left most of us feeling disappointed. The bones are there for a good game, a unique world, a unique story. But I digress. This video is about New Vegas and its unique world and story it was able to share with us. Now, when it comes to a unique narrative, our time with the characters and world will usually only go as far as our imagination will take us within the confines of said media. So, in this instance, I will speak on behalf of all of us self-titled gamers on the notion that we are quite fortunate, seeing as most of the stories we consume are through the lens of a video game. There are a bunch of things to say about stories and, quote unquote, how they are intended to be experienced. But with games in particular, it can lead players to unique experiences despite having already completed said game multiple times. In this area, New Vegas stands amongst the peak in not only the Bethesda lineup of RPGs, but amongst its contemporaries also, because New Vegas was very simply able to strike a balance between player choice and player agency. And with this formula, Obsidian crafted a story it was able to tell without forcing some sort of artificial agency for us to latch onto. And what I mean more specifically is, if you'll allow me, let's rewind to our first playthrough into the lucky ones who can experience New Vegas blind. Click off this video, go play it. Do yourself a favor and go play it. Go get lost in the Mojave for a couple hours and maybe 40, but come back once you're done playing. This video will be up. But we start off with the intro. Ron fucking Perlman, baby. And, he briefly presents the conflict of the region with the factions, the NCR, Legion, House, some other players at the table, and the recent history leading up to the game's current events. And then we are thrust into the shoes of Courier 6, a nameless, faceless, blank slate character for players to create and roleplay whichever persona one comes up with. The basic premise of being a courier who is shot in the head leaves enough of a personal element for us players to latch onto, to be intrigued by, while the level and world design of New Vegas slowly drip feeds us the factions and their basic dynamics within the world. We'll get into more of that in a second. You hear my voice crack? We'll get into more of that in a second. It is shown from that beginning cinematic that the Mojave is currently in the throes of conflict, and everyone has a stake to claim in New Vegas. This is further compounded with the next few in-game hours with, let's call it the intended tutorial path, if you will. What I mean by this is, aside from tasks gained on the player's travels, that simple goal of catching up to that checkered suit bitch.
What in the goddamn?
Either for revenge, intrigue, or getting that chip back. The journey will take you on an odyssey across the Mojave. The game, aside from giving us that personal goal, doesn't force feed us our next big, holy shit, the world will burn if I, the savior of the world, doesn't come and save everyone type of goal. Because before the courier gets past Novak, right, we have the task of tracking Benny still. But this also doubles up as a chance to introduce the factions, which can help shape our view on the Mojave situation. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but our first stop is Prim. And here we see how the locals are quite weary of the NCR, despite their town being currently overrun by convicts, partly fault due to the NCR. Even if they were in control of Prim, without the help from the courier, who knows how long it would have actually taken for Prim to be safe again. Either by choice or coincidence, Obsidian took this chance to show us, the player, how the NCR stand presently as a metaphor here in Prim, as a wounded bear. And this is shown further heading down to the Mojave outpost, where entire caravans have come to a giant standstill because of the NCR's inability to keep the roads safe. The rangers stationed there, Ghost and Jackson, know how screwed they are. They ask for our help to see how Nipton is doing and to help clear the roads so caravans can get moving along. Along the way, just down the hill to the outpost, if you haven't already, you can find a shack that a particular mayor of Nipton was using, along with some notes that he wrote, which gives you a nod to what kind of trouble this guy was up to. The smoke from Nipton is stacked tall in the skies of the Mojave, and upon entering the town, passing by the crazy man, yeah! We are greeted by a street adorned by decapitated heads and rows of crucified powder gangers. The Legion has brought their version of wasteland justice to the people of Nipton. Without any context, of course, the natural reaction is disgust, but upon entering the mayor's office and reading his terminal, although brutal and quite immoral, enslaving, murdering, and all that, the Legion have a commanding force. And these collections of tribals who Caesar has gathered obviously are willing to carry out heinous and brutal acts in honor of his name. After taking care of business in Nipton and choosing to tell Ghost and spreading the word of Legion atrocities, we make our way past the canyon separating Searchlight and the highway to Novak, our next intended destination. Along the way, we have chances of seeing Legion raid parties attacking caravans. I'm pretty sure most of them are scripted, but I'm not sure if... I've seen some legionaries sneak into the nearby ranger station Charlie to kill the officers there. I'm not sure if that's scripted, but anyway, obviously the Legion has made their way into the established NCR territory, and it's a fucking mess to say the least. But now we've made it to Novak, where more choices open up to us, and the information that has been fed to us up until this point, if we've been making merry with the good people of the Mojave, the game respects our knowledge. And no offense, Manny, but I don't want to do the fucking glorified fetch quest for the ghouls, okay? Fuck you, Jason. Fuck you, Manny. It's a fun dungeon, but no, I'm going straight to Vegas. But that's the point. From here is where the magic to the first-time player can be had. We've had the basic premise, and it's been fleshed out to the extent of our curiosity exploring the areas. Whichever kind of playthrough you had in mind, if you were or are a New Vegas virgin, it can be fully envisioned past this initial tutorial path. So go mad, my friends. But don't forget to enjoy the views, do side quests along the way, because in New Vegas, our place, the courier's place, in the world of the Mojave, has no bearing outside the connections we make with the characters in the game. The story isn't so much the focus on our protagonist, because our story has no resolution, but rather the focus is put on the Mojave and its future, our companions, the factions they belong to, everything. Instead of crafting a personal story within an interesting world to facilitate the player's adventures, New Vegas instead crafts an interesting world to learn about and become familiar enough with to craft our own stories to become personal with. The skill writers and the art teams need to have in order to finish a task that is convoluted as this is just that convoluted. But when a talented team comes together to pull it off, it creates a world players want to entertain themselves in decades later. That's something truly special. And that is New Vegas's trump card. If you made it to this part of the video, you're hearing these words, it's the end. Yeah, I want to leave you with some personal thanks. Thank you. I really appreciate it. This video took a little bit longer than anticipated, and I actually had to cut out quite a few ideas for the video in order to keep it a reasonable project. But anyway, I won't waste any more of your guys' time. I can't speak English. I hope something great happens to you today. And yeah, take care.